Teddy Bridgewater suspended from high school coaching, paid for player and team's expenses. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Pat McAfee Show. All right, the Teddy Bridgewater situation is interesting. Obviously, Teddy is beloved in New Orleans, and so we are going to cover this. So this situation has a lot of nuance to it and a lot of complexity. On the surface, I think it's very easy to make a decision, and then when you think about it, it's like, okay, I kind of see what's going on here. So to give you some very brief context, Teddy Bridgewater's been coaching 3A high school football. Won the state championship, I think, last year. Oh, cool. So he was suspended because of paying for Uber rides, food, I think some other treatments or something for his players. And that's it, right? That's the whole thing. Now, Teddy put all this on social media. This is a evolving situation, a fluid situation. On the surface, my initial reaction to these kind of scenarios is, if it benefits the players, who really cares, right? If it benefits the players, whatever. There should be no issue with providing meals or providing rides or providing whatever for players who are having trouble either getting rides or getting to practice or getting meals. The players should be the focus. Okay. Then you think about the competitive landscape. Now, this is where it gets a little bastardized. High school football should not be that big of a deal. Right? It should not be how do we balance the competition? How do we stop recruiting? How do we stop pay for players? How do we stop all this? High school football should be the purest form of football. But I think we all know that that's not how it is anymore, especially in places like Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, huge high school football havens. It is legit. There is recruiting battles. There is paying for players. There's all that stuff. So if you're another team and you're hearing that a school can pay for players' rides, can give players $1,000 a month for food, if you're hearing all that stuff because they have an NFL quarterback who made $70 million in his career as the coach, and they can afford to do that, you're probably sitting there going, well, hold on a second. This is a huge advantage for them. All right? This is an enormous advantage that they can tell recruits or tell players, hey, you come over here, you get a free ride to school every day. So we're going to listen to what Pat and them have to say, talk about throughout. Here we go.
Teddy Bridgewater situation is really interesting.
Very much so.
Okay, now there's different numbers coming out, like the amount of money that he spent on his players, rehabilitation, Uber, food, transportation, things like that. So that is the narrative that is from the Teddy Bridgewater camp, because he's been suspended for a year from...
I think what I saw the number, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 a week, I think is the number I saw. Which, you extrapolate that out, that's a pretty significant amount of money. You don't have to have an MBA from Tulane to tell you that, $1,000 or $2,000 a week is, six figures.
A league, I guess, that he no longer coaches. His statement's like, you can't be suspended for something I'm not coaching.
Yeah, okay, $1,500 a week, from daily Uber rides to feeding the boys every morning following our morning training sessions, to feeding the boys catered pasta during the season, to Pride Sets, to training camp. I cover all the expenses. So I don't know if the $1,500 a week is everything or just the feeding them or what. But let's just call it somewhere between $1,500 and $2,500.
Because he's now back with the Lions or whatever. He won state championship as a high school state coach.
Mm-hmm.
Dominant. Watching his team every week. We enjoyed the ride, watching Teddy B lead his squad down there in South Florida to win a state championship. So now he gets suspended, and I assume we all think that the suspension looming was the reason why he left and went to the Detroit Lions maybe, or who knows what was going to happen. Nonetheless, interesting thing to do to a coach in the modern world that we're in, especially with the way the NIL is. I assume the other people are saying he wasn't paying for our Ubers, he was buying cars and all this.
But even if he was paying for Ubers, right? And this is the unfortunate circumstance of the current landscape of sports, not even just college sports where NIL and all that exists, but high school sports, travel ball, all that. a couple quick personal anecdotes. When I was in college, our basketball coach at the University of Southern Mississippi, Donnie Tyndall, was the best college basketball coach in the school history. We were going to NCAA tournaments. We were winning conference championships. We were winning. I mean, we were turning into a basketball school. Donnie got suspended because he was providing players he was helping out with like their rent, or he was helping out with, I think, the same situation. Like he was kind of providing some food money here and there. And Donnie Tyndall was the guy where he would routinely buy all the tickets for the student section, and students could come in free or whatever. Like he would routinely do that. And at that time, like Southern Miss had a lot of international players. NIL was not a thing, so players were not getting paid. So you had a lot of international players in a weird place, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and Tyndall was providing some aid. That sounds nice. Like that sounds like, man, he's just being a good guy. He's just being a coach. He's just being there for these guys, right? Like they're having trouble, whatever. They don't know what to do. They're not from here. They have no family here. They have no friends here. They're stuck in Hattiesburg playing basketball, and Donnie's making sure that they eat, making sure that they're okay. He got suspended for like 10 years. He basically got the death penalty, and he hasn't. I don't think he's like, he went to Tennessee. Like this is a guy who he was a legit big name college basketball coach, and he was wiped off the map for this. Okay. Another person I know, when I was playing Little League baseball, this is like mid-90s, my dad was the coach up until I was probably like, he was my coach for like the first couple of years, and then he preferred I got coached by other people just to learn and grow and whatever. He would purposefully draft, because we did like a draft in our Little League system. He would purposely draft either girls on the team, and this is like for coach pitch and the first year of like player pitch. He would purposely draft girls on the team or people he knew or kids he knew from families that were struggling. And the first thing we did is he would buy like gloves and cleats and stuff for these kids is what he would do. And it was not a big deal, right? It was nice. It was cool. It was looking back on it now, it's an awesome gesture. But that was back before sports became the most serious thing in the world to all these families. Like travel ball didn't exist back then. All this like AAU, the travel team, select basketball, select baseball, 365 days a year, travel, that did not exist back then. You had your Little League, and you had All-Stars, and then you did something else. Like you didn't do any of this other kind of stuff going on. Now, that ain't the case. Now these parents are paying thousands of dollars for travel team, for equipment, for bats and balls and drip accessories and the shade, the Pit Viper shades, and like everything is so much bigger. Now they're doing these camps. Now they're doing specialized training. Now they're moving. Like people are moving in order to get their kids in certain high schools, to get their kids certain coaches, to then get to certain colleges, to then get to the pros. Like it has become completely different now.
Stuff. It's like, who cares? Like, is that against the rule? I don't know if that's against the rules. I don't fully comprehend why this would happen. This feels like one of those NCAA things.
Okay, here we go. So, $10,000 for equipment, then $300 a week to keep the field painted, then $1,300 a week to have recovery trucks service the players the day before games, then $2,200 a week for meals, then $700 a week on Uber fare. That's a ton of money. And like this is absolutely an advantage to this team and these players to get this when other teams can't. There's no way these other coaches could afford this.
Back in the day, not now, NCAA, you guys have changed, and you guys care about things that matter.
That's right. Yes.
And you guys
like TV deals.
Invest resources in things that are going to make the lives of student human athletes better.
Yes, like college football playoffs.
But back in the day, the NCAA just used to investigate the most dumb things. It's like, why there's this going on? Why would you do that? This doesn't make any sense. From what I've read about this situation, this feels very stupid, and this feels like they were trying to get Teddy Bridgewater the hell out of the league.
I hate it, man.
You're a South Florida guy.
Yeah, South Florida guy. He's obviously a South Florida guy, Miami guy. Went back to his alma mater, Miami Northwestern. after I think they went like 4-6 maybe the previous year before he took over. Then he goes on and wins like a 6A state championship in Florida, which is a huge deal. And Teddy, Foxy knows this. Anybody that knows this, that any program he's been a part of, he's always been a stand-up guy, a class act. I believe he even self-reported some of this stuff.
Yeah, he self-reported all of it, I believe.
So, and the things you look at the list: Uber rides, rehab, all this, feeding kids,
field paint for the field, so they can have lines in the field.
This is shit that we all would hope a coach or somebody in the position to be able to bless others would do. So for him to be punished.
Yeah, I mean, this is the issue, is that the rules are in place to stop bad actors, okay? Unfortunately, sometimes good actors get caught up in those rules, and there's no gray area, there's no wiggle room. There should absolutely be a gray area and wiggle room for the good actors to help players and families and whatever who are less fortunate and cannot do whatever. But you can easily see where this can be used, whether it's in high school or college or whatever. I mean, we've seen it in college, right? Before NIL, what used to happen? A school would go to a player. I think it was like the Marcus Dupree. I think it was Marcus in his documentary. Like Marcus Dupree, grew up, in a poverty area in the middle of Mississippi, like, nothing going on in there. And I'm pretty sure in that documentary, maybe it wasn't Dupree, but they basically, whoever it was, I think it was Oklahoma at the time, basically said, if you come here, we'll give your mom a job. We'll give her a job. Boom. Just like that. We'll give salary job with the university, benefits, bam. Now you could look at that and say, damn, that's really nice from Oklahoma. That's really nice of them to do that. Took a family that's struggling and said, gave the player's mom a job, and now boom, they got a salary, they got benefits. That's really nice from Oklahoma. But you can easily see how it's like, okay, well, that's not fair. The competitive balance is not okay there. So it is. And my little bulldog statue just fell off. So it's one of those things where, yeah, on a human level, it's very nice. It is very nice for Auburn to have a recruit who doesn't have a car and who can't get to school. It's very nice of Auburn to give that student a brand spanking new $80,000 Chevy Tahoe. Very nice of them to provide that. That is a good human action. But unfortunately, the good human action is also a recruiting advantage and changes the competitive landscape. Right? So, it's one of those things where it's very tricky. It's very, very tricky to separate the good that Teddy is doing here with the obvious breakdown in a competitive advantage that it gives his players. I mean, even the $1,300 a week for recovery trucks to service the players the day before games. I mean, that's a pretty sporty, I'm talking about $70,000 in recovery. I mean, I know 6A Florida is a pretty serious level of competition, but, I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but back when I played, recovery was, maybe a Cosmic Brownie and half of a lukewarm Gatorade. $70,000 towards recovery trucks. Pretty nice.
It's like this is absolutely ridiculous, man. The impact that I know that he's had on his community, not only being a player, but, well beyond his years on the field, even though he's still playing, pouring into those young men, man. Hats off to Teddy, man. I hope this all gets sorted out and he's back on the sideline, coach, because this is what young kids needed. This is what I needed. I needed a Teddy Bridgewater or a guy like that or a young lady like that, in your life looking after young kids. So I hope this gets figured out, but it sounds very, very dumb.
I don't, in the world we're in right now, I don't know how this is even still, I don't get it. We have kids on our show. We're very lucky.
Yeah.
We have kids commit to colleges, and they got like DoorDash.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
Raising Cane's.
Baby.
Right here. They got all these things. It's like, so they're allowed to get deals from
But
people
not
they
from the
don't
coach.
know.
I would
but
assume that their explanation when they suspend him is that other teams can't do this. Other teams' coaches maybe not have the money to do that.
Yeah, that's exactly why those rules are in place in high school and college. Like college, before NIL and before all this got absolutely out of control, which we all agree it's out of control and it's a mess. The argument before was, well, not every school has the boosters or not every school can pay players, so the schools that can pay the players are going to have an enormous advantage. That was always the argument, right? Like, players shouldn't get paid because it flips, all of a sudden it flips the entire landscape. So, yeah, obviously, if these other high school teams, if their coach can't spend $80,000 on recovery trucks or $100,000 on a combination of Uber rides and food, or he can't pay $10,000 to stripe the field, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to just say, well, I mean, it is what it is? Like at that point, like that's the obvious reason that these rules are in place. So yeah.
But why is that? You shouldn't punish Teddy for that.
Yeah.
What if it was a parent?
This all feels so stupid to me. This just feels dumb. And I think everybody is on the same side.
Yeah.
I think that's what he ended up having to do, or I think that's what they ended up trying to do, was trying to garner donations to do it. I think it's okay if like there's donations or whatever, which, yeah, I mean, if it gets into granular levels like that, yeah, it's stupid. Like, who cares where the money's coming from? If that's the big deal, the money can't come from the coach. It has to come from an anonymous donor, whatever. Like, if that's the whole thing, then yeah, it's dumb.
Everybody thinks this feels dumb. Feels like an agenda. Doesn't it? It feels like one of those agenda. But also, I assume there's somebody down there who's like precedent, and
are they saying he's recruiting players there illegally? That's the only thing you can do in high school. If they claim you're bringing people in and like saying, hey, he lives in.
But once again, is that not allowed anymore?
I think that.
Yeah, it's different places. Like, all the rules are different in different districts and regions and states and whatever. But again, it's obvious to see where if, let's just say, 10 of the best recruits, like, let's just remove the high school college thing, pretend like no one can get paid. If 10 of the best recruits, and all 10 of them are from, struggling families or struggling areas, and they're all 10 of the best recruits in the state are all struggling to eat, and one school says, well, if you come here, I'll pay for your meals. All 10 of those players are going to go to that school. Now, again, on a human level, it's good that school is paying for those 10 students' food. Good from a human level. But all the other schools and programs in that area are looking around like, well, damn, that school just got the entire top 10 class of recruits because they have the funds to be able to pay for the meals. So
this stage of life now, yeah, that's what I'm saying. With how everything is wide open with NIL, like literally NIL just kind of opens up the door for everything. Got a lot of millionaires, 16, 17.
Yeah, I mean, even when we had Derek Queen on, like Derek Queen, the center from Maryland during March Madness, he did his entire post-game press conference, and when he talked about the coach, he's like, well, the coach is like, the money I'm getting is coming out of his pocket. So,
that's college saying to high school down there, Miami, whatever the case. Teddy B, we appreciate you looking out for your players, man.
Yeah.
Sucks to get bad. That feels like a waste of energy.
That's what it is. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I would guess that it's the other coaches who are like, hey, this guy came in, this team was 4-6 before he got here, and then he runs roughshod and wins a state championship. Like, this is bullshit. We got to get this guy out of here.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the other coaches, right? If the other coaches see this team struggling, and all of a sudden Teddy Bridgewater comes in, the school's got a brand new field, brand new turf, brand new this. They got recovery trucks showing up, Uber rides lined up outside of the school. They're getting chauffeured to class. Boom, now they're getting meals catered, pregame, postgame, and all of a sudden they win the state championship. Those other coaches looking around like, damn, he's basically funding a junior college level infrastructure. And all of a sudden, they're winning all these games. And then other students are like, yeah, I want to go play there. I want to go play under Teddy Bridgewater and get Ubered to class, and I don't have to worry about driving to class, and I can get free meals here. I can get recovery. Boom, I can do this. I got, what they call it, the pride kit or whatever. I got the drip. And I guess the real issue is that and this goes college too, the issue is when you put the game in front of the players, which has happened across the board. AAU, there's no doubt in my mind, AAU the parents, the coaches, whoever, have put the game ahead of the players. A 9-year-old kid shouldn't be playing, 6 baseball games every weekend for 52 straight weeks, traveling all over the place, and that's not good for the player. The game is being put in front of the player, and you have a huge issue. But this is a complex situation. I fully support any coach at any level doing what they can to help their players out. 100%. Just like the examples I gave you earlier. Fully support. My dad paying for gloves and cleats or whatever for needy players on the team. Fully support Donnie Tyndall helping out his players at Southern Miss. 100%. Fully support Teddy doing what he did for his players. But I see the other side, where I see the other coaches in Florida. I see where they're like, yeah, this is what the hell, this is unfair. This is kind of tipping the scales. So unique situation, ladies and gentlemen. Get down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.